All right, hello everyone and welcome to the flex sequence. So right now we're about to work out for a nice 30 minutes together, and this will be a nice break for the body, a nice little flexibility workout to help us to relax the muscles, to stretch, and to kind of take care of ourselves from all the hard work we've been doing. So we're going to start by opening up our legs pretty wide and turn our toes out toward the long corners of our mat. Let's bring the hands up so we're like a 5-pointed star as we pull the shoulder blades down our backside. And then as we exhale, we're gonna plie or bend the knees and sweep the hands down toward the earth. So we're just moving up and down. Yeah, so imagine yourself trying to graze the mat with your fingertips, just up and down. Inhale and exhale. We wanna keep the knees behind the toes, so if I were to look over my knees as I bend, I should be able to see the toes a bit. And really push out through the outer thighs to keep the legs open. Good, let's do this one more time. This is just part of our warm-up. And then bring our arms down by our side. So now we're gonna move in and out of what's called a warrior two flow. So let's take our foot and turn it toward the short edge of the mat, and the opposite foot is now turning towards the long edge of the mat. Heel is slightly further back. We bend the front knee and draw the arms out. This is warrior two. Now we'll straighten the leg, turn the foot so both feet are pointing in the same direction, and then reset on the opposite side. So we're warrior two reverse. So we inhale and exhale. There you go. We're moving from side to side, just opening up through the hips. Take your time. Again, this is about going slow. We don't need to go fast. This is us building more flexibility within the body. Yeah, you got it. Keep going. 3 more times like this. Nice work. Now, on this last one, we're gonna stay here on this side. Really pull the belly in towards your body and think about trying to sink that leg down a little bit lower. So we're really working out in our warrior two stance. Good, just breathe. Kind of settle in there. Now, on our next inhale, let's take our front arm and reach it up toward the ceiling in reverse warrior. And then we'll bring the forearm to the thigh and come to a side angle. Let's do that 3 times. Inhale, look up, reverse warrior. Exhale, arm to the side, side angle. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale, look up and exhale. Now this time we're gonna inhale, and then as we exhale, we're gonna cartwheel ourselves all the way down to the earth. So we're in a low lunge position. Let's go ahead and drop our knee down onto the mat, and we can undo the toes or untuck the toes. Now, if you have a thinner mat, you can roll the mat over to the side, put a towel under your knee or a blanket, something to give your knee a little extra cushion. We're gonna take the front foot and literally move the foot towards the outer edge of the mat, pointing the toes toward the corner. I'm placing my hand on my thigh, using my fingertips like a little tripod. Stick the chest out, pull the belly in, and rotate yourself all the way up. So now you're facing the opposite direction. We're just opening up and stretching here. Keep pressing the knee forward and pulling the belly in and trying to turn your heart and your eyes up towards the ceiling in the opposite direction. Good, take a deep breath in and exhale out. Now slowly turn yourself back forward and shift your weight. So this time we are gonna tuck the toes. We're gonna shift our weight back and we're bringing the front toes up toward the ceiling. Now pull your belly into your spine and think about sticking your chest back and pulling your shoulders down. Nice. Now if this is too intense, you can always come up a little bit higher. If you have some blocks, if you put blocks under each hand, that really helps to lift, especially if you have some really strong hamstrings. I know everybody's gonna be a little different, but you got this. Yeah, take a deep breath in. We're basically trying to stretch out the front leg hamstring area. Now we're gonna shift our weight so that we can pull this leg back, and we're coming into an all fours position. So I'm stacking my knees directly under my hip bones and then the wrists directly under the shoulders. Go ahead and spread the legs nice and wide. And we're gonna move in and out of what we call a cat and cow. So I'm looking down at the mat. Once you see what I'm doing, then you can look down as well. We're gonna round through our spine, bring our chin towards our chest like an angry cat. And then as we inhale, we put a dip in our spine and look forward into what's called cow pose. So again, we round through the spine like an angry cat. And then we inhale, we come forward into cow. Let's do that again. Round through our spine, cat pose. And inhale, cow pose. Last time, round through the spine, cat pose. And inhale, cow pose. Good, now let's go ahead and find a neutral spine and then reach the arms out in front of us. We're gonna sink our hips back into what is called a child's pose. So you want the forehead to kind of rest down on the mat if possible, but if that is not comfortable for you, you can stack one fist on top of the other and just bring the forehead down onto the fist like so. And just breathe in and breathe out. Really reaching through the fingers. You want to pull the shoulder blades down towards your back pockets. Let the hips kind of sink in toward the heels. So a nice little stretch here. Inhale. And one big exhale. Now on our next inhale, let's go and shift our weight forward. Keep your hands where they are. We're going to tuck our toes and lift our hips to the sky. We're coming to downward facing dog. So take a look at your feet. The legs should be about hip distance apart. And I'm really dropping my head so that you can see I can just move my head gently. Good, and just breathe in and breathe out. We're feeling a nice stretch within the calves. We're pushing the shoulders toward the back pockets. We want to pull the belly in and upward. So if you have a mirror that you can potentially see yourself in, notice if you're coming forward, you really want to press back. Try to fold yourself in half. Think of the letter V. So stick your tailbone up. Now on your next inhale, we're going to extend the right leg all the way up to the sky. This is called the three-legged dog. And then step the right foot all the way forward between our hands. Good. Now from here, we're going to drop the knee on the back side again. You can roll the mat over if you need a little cushion and put the hand onto the thigh. So we're coming into a crescent lunge here. So I'm creating a crescent feeling with the body, lifting the chest up. You can keep the back toes tucked, or if it's more comfortable, you can untuck them. But I'm really pulling in and up through the core. I'm not pressing forward and sinking down. So hopefully you notice the difference between that. And we can add a little bit more intensity if we desire by lifting the chest up and breathing. So this is a great stretch for our hip flexors, right? Especially for all of us who do things like work, sitting at desks and computers, sitting in cars, riding on trains, cycling, running, you name it. Great hip stretch. One more breath. Good. Now as we exhale, we're going to take the hands down, lift the leg, and step this foot in slightly. So when we step forward, both legs should get long and both feet completely flat on the ground. Now I can touch the floor, but many of us may have some really strong hamstring muscles, so we need to come up a little higher. I want you to put your hands on your hips and notice the hip bones. Literally pull the right hip back and the left hip forward. So if I had a glass of wine, I could sit on your back and it'd hang out there. Pull the belly in and stick the chest out, and maybe hang out with the hand right here on the thigh, or maybe bring the hand down towards the shin. Now if you can keep the spine long and reach to the floor, or maybe if you have some blocks, you can use the block. We do want to keep a very small bend in the front knee and check in with the toes. Make sure we're not clawing onto the mat. I'm going to be able to wiggle the toes out just a little bit. Take another big breath here. Good, one more inhale. Now as we exhale, we're going to bend that front knee, place our hands onto the thigh, and stand up. We're inhaling the arms over our head, and we'll exhale and bring the hands behind our back to open up in chest expansion with Warrior One. But go ahead and step the foot back just a little bit more to give ourselves a better stance, okay? So we're opening up here. Pull the belly in and roll the shoulders open. Take a deep breath in, and a nice exhale out. Again, inhale and exhale. Good, so we're gonna release the hands, place the hands onto the hips, and take our time and step forward and just walk the feet out. Just let that go, right? No big deal. Now from here, let's take a deep breath in and reach the arms over the head. As we exhale, we're gonna hinge at the hips, right? Let's fold down toward the earth and just hang out here. So when we fold, we have a tendency to kind of rock the caboose backwards. I want you to push your weight more forward so that the weight is in the balls of your feet and your heels almost feel like they're gonna lift off the mat. And then maybe grab your opposite hand to your opposite elbow and see if you can really drop the head low. Just breathe in and breathe out and let the weight of your body create a glorious opening, a well-deserved opening on the backside. So this is decompressing for the spine. It's really nice on the hamstrings. Again, many of us probably do some type of activity that requires us to sit for extended periods of time. Good, one more inhale here. And then a big exhale, let it go. Then release the arms by our side. I want you to pull your belly button really tight in towards your spine as you bring your chin towards your chest and roll up slow. So take your time. There's really no rush to stand up. Just listen to my voice and roll all the way up to the top until your head and shoulders are the last thing to lift up. Once we're standing here, let's take a deep breath in. Arms go over our head. And we're going to exhale and sit into a chair pose. Good. Inhale, we lift up. And exhale, we sit in chair. So chair is just like a squat, right? So we're inhaling and we're exhaling. We're pressing the hips back. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Inhale. And as you exhale, we're gonna hold our squat position. So I'd like you to reach your palms straight out so they're facing each other. Imagine if you were holding onto an imaginary block and pull the shoulder blades back, pull the belly in, let the tailbone drop down. Good, go ahead and take a quick peek down over the knees. Can you see the edge of your toes? Maybe you just got a nice new pedicure, or maybe you want a new pedicure, who knows? Yeah, just hold it there. One more inhale. And as you exhale, we'll take it up to a standing position. Whew, good job. So we're coming back to that wide stance, because if you haven't figured this out, we were only on one side. So we gotta do everything on the opposite side of the body. So here we are. We're in our wide stance position, toes pointing out toward the corners of the mat. We're inhaling, the arms go up. We exhale, we plie, bend the knees. Inhale, lift, and exhale down. So we're just doing this a few times, opening up through the hips. Inhale and exhale. Good. Keeping the knees behind the toes. Dropping the buns down toward the ground, but not below the knees. Yeah. 2 more times together. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Inhale and exhale. Good. Inhale the arms up. We're going to exhale the hands by our side. We're adjusting the feet like we did earlier. So this time, this leg will now turn so the toes are pointing forward, and the opposite leg will turn so the toes are pointing to the short edge of the mat. We're going to bend the knee and reach the arms out. Warrior 2. Now we flow. We straighten the leg and the arms to turn the foot, and then we exhale to the opposite side. So just like we did before, we're moving from side to side. We've already done this, so it's very familiar. Good. And again, there's no rush, right? We don't have to get anywhere fast at all. Just moving from side to side. Taking our time to enjoy an opening. Now on this last one, let's go ahead and hold it over here onto this side. And again, we're just reaching through the fingers. I want you to pull the shoulder blades down, pull the belly button in, and you can gaze forward this direction, or you can gaze out over the fingertips, whichever feels good on the neck today. Breathe in and breathe out. Now on our next inhale, we'll move into our reverse warrior. So we're reaching the front arm forward and up. And then as we exhale, we come into a side angle, resting the forearm on the thigh. Inhale, reverse warrior. And then exhale one more time, bend to touch the thigh on the elbow onto the thigh. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, we're gonna cartwheel ourselves all the way down to the mat as we drop the back knee down. So we can untuck the toes, roll the mat over again if we need a little extra cushion, whatever's working for us. We're taking the front foot, we're gonna turn our toes toward the corner of the mat, use our fingertips like a tripod, put our hand on the thigh, push the knee forward, lift the chest, pull the belly in, and then exhale, and we're turning to the opposite direction. So we're opening up on the opposite side of the body. Take a deep breath in, and just let out a nice exhale. Think about lengthening, turning the heart and the eye gaze upward. Inhale again, and exhale. Slowly turn back to forward or center, and then we'll shift our weight as we tuck the back toes and bring ourselves into this little prep for a split position. So the toes should be pointing up towards the ceiling. And breathe in and breathe out. Remember, if you have those blocks, you can hold on to blocks to make it higher for you, especially if you have some really strong hamstring muscles. It's all good. Do what you have to do to adjust. Good, breathe in. And now if you really do have a full split practice or you're working towards a split, you're welcome to extend the leg out even further in front of you. By all means, make the adjustment. Good, now we slowly shift our weight back forward. We're gonna bring our front foot back so we set ourselves up once again in that all fours position. So my knee is directly under my hip. My wrist is directly under the shoulder. Fingers are spread nice and wide, right? So my hands open. We inhale, we come into cow pose. We put a dip in the spine and we look up. And then we exhale, we round through the spine like an angry cat. Again, inhaling, cow pose, look forward. And then exhale, round angry cat pose. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose. Once again, we inhale, cow pose, and we exhale, cat pose. Coming to a neutral spine, we're just gonna walk the hands out and sink our hips back like we did on the opposite side, finding a child's pose. So we can let the head rest completely on the mat, or you can take that option like I mentioned before, bringing our fists on top of one another. You can also place a block down and place your forehead on the block. Whatever feels really good to you. Take a deep breath in and go ahead and let out a nice sigh, right? Just make the sound, right? Let the breath kind of sink and settle you into the pose a little more. Feel your body open. On your next inhale, let's shift our weight forward as we tuck our toes, and we're gonna lift our hips up to the sky. We're finding that downward facing dog. So we're pressing down through the heels, right? We're not lifting up on the tippy toes like this. Really press down through the feet. And I'm really also pressing the shoulder blades towards my back pockets, pulling the belly in and lifting that tailbone up to the sky. And again, I should be able to move my head because it's relaxed. It's just hanging right off of my neck. Take a deep breath in. Let a nice exhale out. So if your hands start sliding, which mine are, you can simply just push your hands back into place. Then our next inhale, we're gonna extend our left leg into the sky in that 3-legged dog, and then we're stepping the left foot forward between our hands. We're dropping the right knee down. And again, if you need that extra cushion, just go ahead and roll the mat over to give you the cushion you need. We'll take the hands onto the thigh, we're untucking the toes, and we're lifting the heart for what we call that crescent lunge. So we're creating an arch in the back. And again, I'm not sinking down, right? You can see a big difference here as opposed to pulling in and up and lifting the chest. Opening up, think about opening through the hip flexors. Another good tip is to activate the butt cheek. So kind of squeeze it and you'll feel the hip flexor open more. Take a deep breath in. And exhale out. One more inhale here. And again, if you went big on the opposite side, go ahead and lift up. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down to the earth. Tuck the toes to lift the leg, and we're gonna step in some so we can flatten both feet on the ground and come up to our hands on our thighs. Bring your hands onto the hips. Both feet should be perfectly flat. Straighten the leg. And then hinging forward, literally feeling the hip bone. So the right hip bone this time moves forward. The left hip bone moves back. So again, it's like if I could put a book or a glass on your back, you want it to stay there. Small bend in the front knee. Keeping the spine very, very long. And then when you're ready, maybe you come down a little deeper. Maybe you make your way down all the way to the floor. It's okay if you're not there yet. We'll be working out a lot together, so we'll have time to improve, right? Because we're just taking it one step at a time. Not comparing ourselves to what we think it should be, just opening up. Yeah, letting the body kind of release on its own. Let's go ahead and bend that front knee. Place the hands onto the thigh and stand on up. So the shoulders are stacked over the hips. Let's inhale the arms high and step the back foot back some. We're in our warrior one position, and then we're gonna take the hands behind the back. We're interlocking the fingers and rolling the shoulders open. So notice in this position, if I'm kind of standing here like this, right, and I just got the belly hanging out and the buns up, can I really squeeze through the core, drop the tailbone down, and then roll the shoulders open to open through the heart. And I'm really grounded through the foot. So this back leg is strong and I'm pressing forward through this front knee. Another inhale here. Good, and then we'll exhale. Nice job, one more inhale. And exhale. Nice, so we'll release our hands onto our hip. Take your time and we're gonna step forward so we come to the top of our mat and we can just walk it off, shake it out. Let's take a deep breath in again, reach the arms over the head. And then exhale, we're swan diving all the way down toward the earth, finding ourselves in that forward fold. So we'll grab the opposite hand to the opposite elbow, and then second time around, I want you to actually open your legs so that your pinky toes are at the edges of your mat, and move your body from side to side like a pendulum. Just swing it out. Yeah, a nice little release. Don't forget to push a little more weight forward into the balls of your feet. You almost want to feel as if you're about to topple over. And just sway and stretch. And come all the way back to a neutral spine, AKA stop moving. Good, release the arms down. We'll bring the feet in some so the ankles are under knees, knees under hips. Pull the belly to the spine. Slowly roll ourselves all the way up. Take your time to stand. Head and shoulders last thing to lift. And we inhale, the arms circle sweep up. And we exhale, we sit down into that chair pose. Inhale to lift. And exhale to sit. So we're just reaching the arms straight forward, pressing the hips back. Remember, chair is like sitting in a squat. Inhale and exhale. Hopefully you're feeling really good about yourself right now. Keep moving. Inhale and exhale. One more time here. Let's go ahead and hold our chair pose. Pulling our belly in, reaching through the fingers again. Pretend like you have an imaginary block in your hand. Try to squeeze onto the block. And then notice if you're rounding through the spine, right? I call that the hunchback of Notre Dame. Pull the shoulders back, shine the heart forward. One more breath in. Good, and then just exhale and stand tall. All right, so we're gonna turn back to the long edge of the mat. And we're gonna move into what's called a nice little triangle pose, a really good stretch on the side body. So let's start with our foot pointing towards the short front edge of the mat and keep this one to the long edge. Then bend the knees, go back to warrior two. Nice, now from here, inhale, straighten up your leg as you lift your arms. And then as we exhale, we're gonna extend the arms out and tip at the hips. So think of yourself like a teapot, right? Tip over as if you were pouring some tea and open up into a triangle and just breathe. Now the key to triangle is not leaning forward like this, like projecting yourself out of the pose. We wanna push back. So if I were to look down, I should only be able to see my chest. I should not be able to look down and see my whole body. So that's a nice little test for yourself. Good, breathe in and breathe out. One more inhale. One more exhale. This happens to be like one of my favorite poses. Really good for us runners and cyclists out there as well. And then go ahead and bring the hand to the hip. We'll bend the knee, lift ourselves up, straighten the leg and turn the foot in the opposite direction, yeah? And reach the arms out as we bend the knee. We're back to warrior two. Now we inhale, we straighten the leg, we look up. And then as we exhale, we're tipping at the hip, keeping the legs long, and we're coming into that triangle pose. Now, as you can see, you may be here. You could potentially get a little bit lower. Maybe you're all the way down on the top of the foot. Who knows? But remember, you want to be nice and long, right? Side body opening. If I peek down, right, if I just gaze down, I should only be able to see my chest, not my whole body. Breathe in and breathe out. Good, really nice. One more big inhale here, really open up. And big exhale. Placing the hand onto the hip, we'll bend the knee, lift ourselves back up, turn the foot forward, and just heel toe your feet together. All right, so we're almost there, folks. We're gonna make our way down to the floor and do a few more stretches together. So we'll turn so that we're facing the short edge of our mat. Let's take a deep breath in, reach the arms up. And then as we exhale, we'll fold down to the earth. Let's step one foot back and drop a knee, and then follow it with the other foot. Then swing the hands to one side and the feet to the other as we sit down on our buns. Now, once we're down on the mat, go ahead and reach back, pull out a little extra cushion. That way we're really sitting on our sits bones and trying to lift up through the core. Take a deep breath in, let the legs be about hip distance apart, point the toes up toward the ceiling. And then as you exhale, just start to hinge at the hips. So hinge at the hips means move from here and bring the chest towards the feet and just breathe in and out. Now, if you happen to have some really strong hamstring muscles, you can take your mat, right, and just roll it up so that you can sit on top of it. Or if you happen to have two mats available, sit on another mat or a block, blanket, if you have that available to you also. And breathe in and breathe out. Maybe close the eyes and let go of all the external stuff, right? And just breathe. Just have a good time with it. And now slowly lifting ourselves up. We're gonna bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet together. So we're setting up in a butterfly position. So I'm holding on to my ankles. If you hold on to the feet, some people like to interlock the fingers and wrap them over the toes. That's fine, but be mindful that you're not doing this to the foot. Don't pull the foot up off the mat. That's really stressful on the ankle joint. So I prefer to hold on to my actual ankles, because then I can use my elbows and press my thighs open, because as you can see, I have some, what I like to call area of opportunity here. So take a deep breath in, and nice exhale out. And we're folding as far forward as we can go while keeping the chest lifted and the belly engaged. Inhale, and exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Now slowly lifting up, we're closing the legs. Go ahead and scoot forward a little bit so you can make sure that you have some mat to allow yourself back down onto. So we're lowering down onto our back side. Once you're on your back, our palms are down, and we're gonna literally lift the hips up and come into a bridge pose. Now, this is another opportunity to open up the front shoulders, so you can interlock the fingers if you have that availability and kind of roll onto the outer edge of your shoulder like I just did, and really press up through the hips, right? So ground down through the feet. Take a deep breath in and big exhale out. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Now, slowly release the arms and gently take the hips and lower them down. So we're gonna bring the knees to the chest. I'm just gonna rock on our spine in a nice little side to side motion. This is really nice for the low back. It's like giving yourself a massage. Good, just rock it out. Nice and steady. Very nice. And then to come to our final place, right, our final pose, or a nice little final exercise or move, so to speak, we're gonna bring the feet flat on the floor. Remember that butterfly we did? Now we're gonna take it in a reclining position because we're lying down. So the soles of the feet come together and knees open up. And we're gonna take our arms as well and bring them up and over our heads. So we kind of mimic the feet, except the hands don't have to touch. The palms are literally facing the ceiling. And then I just want you to look up towards the ceiling and close your eyes for a moment. Everyone take a nice big breath in through your nose. And then just let out a nice exhale through the mouth by making a sigh. And again, inhale and exhale. Just taking a moment to really slow down. We probably live some hectic, busy lives. So that's how we kind of thank the body for all that it has done and will continue to do for us. So take another inhale and then exhale. Now, using the inner thigh muscles, let's go ahead and close the legs so we bring the knees together. We're going to draw the arms down by our side. I want you to extend the right leg out and then come into a crunch, bringing your hand to your shin and pull the knee towards the nose. Good, and then release it down. Switch legs, so we grab the opposite leg and we bring ourselves into a crunch, pulling the knee toward the nose. Good, and then we slowly lower down. Keep that knee in. Go ahead and pull the other knee in. Take a deep breath in here. And then as you exhale, lower the feet down onto the mat. Take one arm over your head. We're gonna get up gently by just shifting our hips and rolling over to one side. And then pushing ourselves up and coming to what you can call an easy seated pose for you. So it may be this, it may be butterfly, maybe your legs are straight, maybe you're kneeling onto your shins, no big deal. But we're gonna just do our last 2 stretches together and then we're out of here. So inhale, lift. Good, and then take one arm up. We're just gonna exhale, bend over. Good, and then come on back to the center. And then lift the opposite arm up and take it over. And come on back to the center. And then bring your hands to your heart and give yourselves a big hand because you made it. 30 minutes, flexibility sequence. For some of you, that was a lot. And for others, that may have not been enough, but I'm glad you joined me. So thank you for being here. See you next time.